So let me start. So first of all, thanks for having me in this event, and thanks all of you for joining this session. So I'm Dominique Lahaix, I'm the founder and CEO of eCare, a company which specializes in software for influencer marketing and tribe marketing, and we have been around for 4 years. So as you can sound, I'm French, and I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area 4 years ago. What I'm going to show you today is how to target influencers and give you a little bit of information about what we mean by influencers, because there are many different, let's say, views and metrics about who is an influencer and how we define influence. And then I'm going to walk you through how practically you should build an influencer campaign, how to select your target, and so on and so forth. So my agenda for today is three steps. So first, I'm going to give you an introduction about tribes and influencers, so what we mean by tribes. If you are familiar with the work of Seth Godin or even Marshall McLuhan, I mean, this should be very, let's say, common for you. Then I'm going to dive into the different criteria that people use to profile influencers, so from influence, relevance, reach, and also social graph analytics. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to walk you through different ways that you can use to find influencers specific for your clients and for your campaigns. So tribe and influencers, so that's what we specialize on, because in our view, there is no such a thing as an influencer. I mean, you have first to define influencers for what and in which kind of verticals and which kind of communities. So what we mean by tribes, and that's what came up with the Web 2.0. So before the Web 2.0, most of the people were just listeners to the web, and I mean, then came the blogs and all the different capabilities with Web 2.0, and suddenly, I mean, everybody, I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people started to write content, I mean, build blog, develop a presence in Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, connect one to each other, and this is what we refer to as a tribe. And there are many tribes, and tribes are very diverse. So you've got some very large tribes. The mommy bloggers is the most famous one. I mean, mommy bloggers, you have a few tens of thousands of mommy bloggers in the US, and within these tribes, you have thousands of influencers. But tribes can be also very niche, and these are all tribes that we have had experience with, and it can go down to Americans passionate about Irish ancestry. So, I mean, we had a client that was interested into diving into this tribe. He wanted to launch a book which was focused on this topic. And I mean, when you're in this situation, I mean, the kind of niche tribe that you need to engage with is like this one. So a few tens of people max in the US. So what is very difficult is to grab, I mean, these tribes, because I mean, if you Google, I want to know all the top celebrities, influencers in the UK, I mean, and you may spend a lot of time finding them. So one of the, let's say, the critical elements that you have to be, let's say, knowledgeable about is how you find all these people, how you find who is in and who is not. So not only, I mean, is the world, let's say, populated by tribe, but these tribes are not disconnected. I mean, they are actually heavily interconnected. So here I'm showing you an example of the lifestyle tribe, if I can name it this way. So what we have done there is that we have collected all the key bloggers and influencers in different communities. I mean, from fitness, food, baking, craft, mommy, daddy, fashion. And I mean, and if you dive into this diagram, I mean, you'll get easily, I mean, 20,000 people. I mean, mommy only. I mean, we have mapped 10,000 top mommy bloggers. So what you can see is that these different tribes, they connect one to each other, and you both have people who are critical inside a tribe, and you have some people who are more connectors and who are critical as connecting one tribe to the other. So when you are a brand and you want to engage, I mean, with these tribes and communities, it's very interesting and important to understand the landscape, and very interesting and important also to pick up where you're going to engage and what type of people you're going to engage with, because you just cannot, I mean, go there and say, I'm going to engage social media bloggers, because, I mean, most of them are not relevant for the product or the service that you want to promote. So it's very critical to have a clear understanding on what's in there, who is, I mean, how the communities are organized and the tribes are organized, and how it all fits together. So this slide comes from Forrester. So Forrester Research did a very interesting study about the different types of influence, and they ended up with two notions which we see are critical. It's a little bit, the character is a little bit small, but what they ended up with is that you've got two different types of influencers. So the one that they call the mass connectors, these are people who have tons of followers in Twitter, tons of friends in Facebook, and they generate the bulk of the impressions. The other notion and the other group of influencers that they identify are what they call mass mavens. So these are, I mean, mainly bloggers, and they produce the content which is viewed by, I mean, most of the people. And what you can see in both cases is that it's a small fraction of people. So, I mean, here you've got a figure for Europe, but in the US, Josh Berner said that there are 11 million people, I mean, who are mass connectors. So it's big, but I mean, it's not the 500 million people or 600 million people in Facebook. So again, I mean, 11 million of people that generate 80% of all the recommendation within social networks. And you've got 24 million of people in the US who are influential bloggers generating the content that is viewed by 80% of the people. So, and what he noticed as well is that there is a huge overlap between these two populations. So 7 million of people overlap. So that means that most of the connectors, I mean, are actually already maven and already bloggers. So in terms of influence, what also you can infer is that the people with massive number of connections, these are people who are very influential towards peers, families, and friends, whereas the maven are even more interesting when it comes to expertise and influencing a domain. So, and then you've got lots and lots of, different acronyms that have been invented by a consultant here and there, like thought leaders, reporters, social butterflies. But again, I mean, it all comes down to who writes content that is read and who broadcasts it in a large way in the social networks. So now, I mean, I'm going to walk you through the different, let's say, metrics that you need to look at when you profile influencers within a tribe. And these are relevance, influence, reach, and interconnectedness. So why relevance is important? So, I mean, the thing is that you cannot be influential on everything. So someone is influential on something and to a specific audience. And I mean, that's one of the caveats of the overall influence score that we see here and there, is that, I mean, take Justin Bieber or Obama, or I mean, these guys are influential, definitely, but not for cloud computing, and probably not for fashion. I mean, maybe Justin Bieber is. So in order to move to something which is really actionable from an influence standpoint, you really have to tackle relevance first. And even, I mean, the influencers, I mean, they need to specialize. I mean, you take any influencers in a domain, I mean, you take Chris Brogan. I mean, the only thing he blogs about is social media. I mean, mainly. I mean, you have some people who can, I mean, be influential in several categories. So someone like Guy Kawasaki, as an example, is both influential in marketing, in startups, and I mean, yeah, small businesses. But I mean, this is very rare. So most of the influential people, in order to reach the top of the, I mean, the influence in their category, they have to deeply specialize on a very niche topic. And category isn't just text, as I mentioned. So so you have the people who are the most successful in influencing cloud computing. I mean, they are just talking about cloud computing, and they are not extending to overall high tech. And the same on computer security, user experience, whatever. So influence is a function of relevance, and unless you manage to find out who are the relevant people for what it is that you want to achieve, you're not going to be very successful in finding the influencer that really matter for you. So here are a couple of examples. So we looked at 3 tribes. So one is sustainability, one is biotech, and one is beauty. So this gives you an example at the level of granularity that most of the people want to get when it comes to reaching out tribes and influencers. And you see that, I mean, in these different tribes, the number of influencers that you find is diverse. So for categories such as biotech and sustainability, so clearly B2B, you rarely find more than a few hundred, so I mean 600, 700 relevant people and influential people within these tribes. It takes a lot to become an influencer. So as Murray was saying before, I mean, you have to be writing content and good content frequently, and you have to connect with the other bloggers, you have to build up your audience, you have to engage yourself with the other bloggers. So it's close to a full-time job. So I mean, a few hundred of influencers is already a lot. So you can't expect having, I mean, tens of thousands of people influential in cloud computing. I mean, it just doesn't make sense from an economic standpoint. So when you move to consumer, so it's a little bit larger. So you can go to a few thousand of influencers on topic like fashion, beauty. It's even you can even get much more on broader topic like food or mommy, as an example. But again, I mean, these are the US figures. If you move this to the UK or Germany, France, you move down to a fraction of it. Like, I mean, 1,000 blogger, 1,000, 2,000 mommy blogger influential in a major European country is almost all that you're going to find. So the influence is relative, and we have this type of power curve for almost every single community and tribe that we have looked at. So you usually end up with a few very influential people. So, and here I'm giving you the example of the beauty tribe in the US. So 22 high influence people. So by high influence, we mean people that get a huge number of backlinks and connection retweets from the other member of the community.